everyone. This is Pastor Shelby Crump with Upper Room Ministries. I have the opportunity to be in Hooks, Texas today with Pastor Brian Gibbs of the Eastview Pentecostal Church here in Hooks. They're located at 9797 FM 1398 here in Hooks, Texas. We've got a great facility here. We were able to spend a little time with them a few weeks back, came to Sunday night church, and man, you could just feel the presence of the Lord when you walked in, and it was just a sweet spirit in the place. Really loving people, really kind-hearted folks. It wasn't a very religious thing. It was 100%, you could tell these folks have a relationship with God.
Yes.
And while I was here that night, Amy and I got to visit with Brother Brian and Sister Brooke, and I got to hear about some testimonies that have been going on in their church and some things that God's done. And I want to kind of turn it over to Brother Brian for a minute, let him introduce himself and tell a little bit about what's going on here at the church. And they've got remodel stuff going on. They've got a lot of things happening. So I'll let him tell about that, and we'll get into the miracle testimonies.
My name is Brian Gibbs. I'm originally from Southeast Texas, but we've been up here in Bowie County, Texas for almost 4 years now. Been blessed to be pastoring here at Eastview for that long, and just excited. It's just a tremendous call that we were so glad to answer, and just tremendous people here. And God's done incredible things, and we've been blessed to see Him do incredible things. And yeah, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, we did inherit a tremendous facility here. I talked to the founding pastor of this church, who founded this church here in Hooks in January of 1990, and then July of 91 purchased this property with this church building on it, and then 10 years later was able to build our gym on the back of the property here, and just a real blessing, like I said, to have the facilities here. But we're definitely a church, and you nailed it exactly right. I do not preach or believe in religion. I do believe in a relationship. The Bible says that Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. Well, that which was lost was a relationship in the garden, and we are blessed to have some tremendous folks here, but we do believe in miracles. The Bible says that signs and wonders shall follow them that believe, and here on the table here, this started actually back in 2019, December 2019. It was a Wednesday night service. Just had a handful of people in the crowd that night, but the presence of God was so mightily strong in that service, and we had a lady that's in fact, she is a testimony that's just incredible. God has healed her of 7 incurable diseases. Wow. But she went through 20 years of just battling one disease after another. And
spirit of affliction.
Absolutely. And then went through some trying times and during that 20 years, but God was with her, and she'll be the first to tell you that it was definitely a trying time. It was some trials, but those times is when God really reveals His faithfulness to us, and we learn more in those times than we learn on the mountaintops, of course. But she had been struggling with diabetes, and she's not on insulin, but she was taking some pills. But she was having some troubles getting her blood sugar under wraps and keeping it at a good level. So she had missed a few services because of it either being too high or too low, and it's a real struggle. And so it was a Wednesday night, and she'd been gone a couple of weeks, and for her that's a long time. This woman just loves this church, a very big supporter of this church, and just a tremendous prayer warrior, amazing woman. And she was just so glad to be in service that night. And as service started, they began to play and sing, and we began to worship, and the power of God was just moved so strong in here. And I'll never forget, as I was walking down the side aisle, I walked to the platform and set my Bible and my tablet down. And again, the presence of God was so strong in here that night. I remember having the thought that I said, my God, this feels electric in here. It was just so strong. And yeah, absolutely. So that's the right word for it. And this precious lady, like I said, she had been gone a couple of weeks, missed several services, and she just kind of stepped out and just began to worship along the front of the sanctuary there, And it was just strong. Everyone was just worshiping. It was beautiful, beautiful presence. And I thought I heard her say, "Pastor." And as I turned, she was actually turning face the other way. And I was like, okay, well, maybe she did, because the music was still playing and everyone was still worshiping. And they stopped playing for a moment. And then she says, "Pastor Gibbs, she goes, I want you to pray for me." She goes, and I said, I tried to get your attention a while ago, and I was going to ask you to pray for me. And she said, "The Lord spoke to me." She goes, "I was going to ask you to pray that God would heal me of diabetes." And the Lord just clearly spoke to me and says, "Don't ask that. You know that I can do that. Don't just ask for me to heal you, but ask for me to heal everyone else in the building." Wow. And anyone that'll come through those doors, if they'll ask and believe. The Lord said, "Ask me to do that." So she says that. She tells what the Lord said to her. She goes, and these were her words. She goes, "I want to curse diabetes tonight." Mm-hmm. And so, my goodness, in the atmosphere, it was just one of those kind of atmospheres where you just feel God can do anything. Yeah. And absolutely. And of course, went down and, I believe in laying hands on the sick and they shall recover. But again, it wasn't just for her. We just begin to take authority, begin to bind some things. The Lord told Peter, "Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." And faith, again, you're right, faith was so strong and here it was so powerful. And I could get the presence of God just seemed like it was just magnified. Everyone just in faith believing together for this. And her sister was another tremendous lady in this church. She says, "Pastor Gibbs," she goes, "I want to curse fibromyalgia tonight." And I said, "Okay, let's do that."
Well, at this point, I hate to interrupt.
No.
At this point, the woman doesn't know for sure that she's healed of diabetes. She just is going off of faith of what God told her, correct?
Right.
So there's nothing tangible that's even happened at this point.
Right.
It's just a snowball or a domino effect of these different people are stepping out in faith.
Right.
To say, you know what, well, if we're going to curse diabetes, well, now I want you to curse fibromyalgia.
If God can do that, well, then surely He can do that.
Okay.
We've never. I have a friend of mine who goes, "The Lord don't get headaches. The Lord doesn't get exhausted." So if we can believe for Him to do that for diabetes, and then at the time I didn't know that her sister suffered with fibromyalgia, and another lady was attending church here at the time, sitting across the aisle, also suffered with fibromyalgia. And a man on the back row, after that we prayed, and just, the same thing, against fibromyalgia. And a man on the back row, he says, "Pastor, I want to pray against high blood pressure right now." And I said, "Well, let's do it." My goodness, let's, what do we have to lose? Absolutely right. If God says no, okay, then He said no. All right. But what if He says yes? And so we begin to curse high blood pressure. And I felt the Lord speaking to me the whole time. Says, "I want you to pray against cancer." Now at the time we didn't have anyone that had cancer, but it wasn't. The point about it was it felt like the Lord kept letting us know that it wasn't just for us.
For the future.
Whoever will walk through those doors and ask and believe. And so we prayed against high blood pressure. We prayed against cancers, and it was still such a powerful. Like I said, the Lord just kind of coming in and invaded the place, and I don't even know what I was going to preach or teach on that night. The Lord just moved in so strong, but the Lord kept speaking to me. "Whatsoever you ask in my name, believe it. It shall be done." And every time the Lord would say that to me, I'd tell the people that whatsoever you ask in my name. And of course, we went on praying for other people that was in the house that night, and so from then, these people just left believing they were healed. And as it started off, it started with just one or two or three of these, and of course using some wisdom with it. They didn't just run out and just eat up everything sweet they could get, but just believe that God had healed them, and God did. It absolutely did. Their blood sugar numbers, the two ladies that had diabetes, their blood sugar numbers planed off without their medication. And I want to publicly say, I'm not anti-doctor. I have one of the best doctors in the business. That is a ministry, in my opinion. So this is not a, hey, we don't believe in going to the doctor. Or if you go to the doctor, you don't have faith. That's not what I'm. Not at all. And so, like I said, their numbers planed off. Then one lady realized that she wasn't having the suffering and the pain with fibromyalgia, and the other woman who I didn't even know had a couple of prescriptions to deal with her pain and inflammation of that, and they just started bringing me these bottles. Say, Pastor, I don't take this medicine anymore. I don't take this medicine anymore. And this is what kind of came about from that service. But again, what it did to our faith was just remind us. I think the Lord sometimes remind us, hey, there's nothing impossible with me. I can do anything. And one of those ladies, she can't. At the time, she really couldn't walk very far. She had a motorized chair. She had to walk too far, but she would use a walker to come in here with wheels to come to the church. But if she went to the store, I think she had a little winch on the back of her truck that picked her chair up. And then she slowly, her health just started getting much better and much better. No longer a diabetic. She sold her battery chair because she just didn't need it anymore. She went to the store.
That's part of the walker that's in here?
That's then it was the walker, and so she didn't want to bring when her walker wheel broke. She was going to get someone to fix it, and she says no. She felt like the Lord let her know, no, this is a part of your healing. And this was a while down the road, and so when the wheel fell off, she just brought me a part of that wheel. She says, hey, I want this to put this as a testimony. She wrote the date on it. That I don't use my walker anymore from this. And she'd already, by this time, she'd already sold her battery chair and the winch that was on her truck to pick it up. And we've had another man, he hasn't brought me his prescription bottles, but he's not on his high blood pressure medicine anymore. And just incredible things we've seen the Lord do, and just excited about that.
It's like something out of the book of Acts, when Jesus was walking down the seashores of Galilee, there'd be people everywhere, and this one gets healed, this one gets healed, this one gets healed. It's just happening. Mm-hmm. And the same thing when Jesus showed up in his church that night, everybody that was here with an infirmity, God just started healing the diseases.
Absolutely.
And where I'm at, and I've been saying this for several years, but it's become more relevant right now to what's going on in America and in the world. We are going to end. The church is going to end how it started.
Absolutely.
And it started in the book of Acts with the power of God moving, and it wasn't man, it wasn't church as we know it, it wasn't something that's orchestrated or ushered in. It was just a sovereign move of God.
Absolutely.
And I have a lot of respect for the fact, just simply that you had a message prepared that night, but you were willing to let the Spirit of God do what He did instead of get up there and, it's time to preach.
Right.
I've been in a lot of services, especially when you have, Spirit of the Lord's moving. Well, everybody's excited. Well, the preacher wants to get up there and get the glory for something. And I'm telling you, I've seen more things that God could have done, but because we got in the way, we messed things up. And it's great to see that.
Well, I'll tell you this. That's kind of the way I was kind of brought up. I know the Holy Ghost can do more in 2 seconds than I can do in 10-week series of teaching. Now, having said that, I was probably here maybe a year or so, and I was in our apartment. I wasn't in my prayer time. It was as out of the blue as out of the blue. And if God's ever spoke to me. Just a random afternoon. He said, do you know why I love this church? And I know why he loves the church. Obviously, I get that. But I knew it. And I just kind of stopped because it was, like, whoa, yes, Lord, And I didn't know what he goes, you let me do what I want. And I remember thinking, well, I didn't shed my blood for this church. I'll give my life here. That's what the Lord wants to do. But He purchased this church with His blood. And I remember thinking, well, I don't know to do it any other way, there have been times where there's been services where we've stopped to just pray for a family, to intercede in prayer for a family. And then not do anything after that. That's what the Lord it absolutely right, and that's what the body is about. We got to realize that we're the body, and the beautiful thing about one particular time that I'm thinking of, where we just stopped service. We had a couple of worship songs, and I just felt like I couldn't go into what I was going to teach or what I was going to preach that night, and I said, I think we need to pray for this couple, and they've got 3 kids, and the beautiful thing about that was that Sunday. That family was in church. That was on a Wednesday night. That Sunday morning they were in church, and somewhere during that service that Sunday morning, the husband had grabbed his wife by the hand and led her. They went down to the front to pray and really kind of connect back with the Lord. They hadn't been where they needed to be, and obviously for us, we realized, okay, well, Wednesday, what they don't know, because no one ever called and told them that we felt it was time to intercede for them, and so yeah, that's just kind of the way.
Well, it's kind of like, and I've preached a message on this about preparing for revival, and when David and his men went to Obed-Edom's house to retrieve the Ark of the Covenant to bring it back into the city of David. Well, the first round they didn't make sacrifices and it ended up killing the dude. Mm-hmm. But when they did it right, they had to every 7 steps.
Absolutely.
Make sacrifice, but what that cost, every 7 steps, it cost a lot.
Yes.
But it was well worth it. When the presence of the Lord entered into that city, they were blessed, and God began to move, and things began to happen. And so that's what people don't realize. These pill bottles and this stuff right here, yeah, I understand that's kind of the end result that we think of as, man, God manifested, and God healed, and God delivered, and God set free from all these diseases. But the time of prayer, the time of preparation, the heeding to the Holy Ghost, and letting the Spirit of the Lord say, hey, we're going to pray and we're going to curse diabetes tonight. Right. We're not going to just curse diabetes. We're going to curse cancer and fibromyalgia and blood pressure and all this stuff. Well, when that begins to happen, revival breaks loose.
Absolutely right.
And that's what I'm excited about. This to me is a revival of health.
Absolutely.
We oftentimes think revival is, 55 people got prayed through, and man, that's a big deal. Well, you know what? I'd rather see 15 saints of God get healed and have a testimony that can reach 5,500 people that don't believe.
Absolutely.
And I believe that's what God's doing.
And, I've always, had it taught to me this way. In Jesus' time on earth, the miracles confirm the message. So when Nicodemus comes to him in John 3, so we know you're a teacher come from God, because no man can do the miracles that you do except God be with him. And what Jesus went straight to the message, except the man be born again of water and spirit. He wants to talk about miracles. And so it's like, you know what? You are right. I am come from God. But now let me tell you why I'm here. The miracles got your attention. And I have a little reminder note on the center of my pulpit that's there. It's just a personal note. It's a full-size piece of paper in big, bold, black letters. It says, tell them the message, but also tell them how to get their miracle. Because we know that he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the same Jesus that healed then, heals now.
Yes, sir.
The proof is in the pudding. But he also still saves today, and we still got to make sure the message goes forth. And another thing, I've recently, of course, we can always look back in time and realize how God's timing is flawless. And this was December of 19, not knowing that we're about to go through a pandemic.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, I've lost friends to the pandemic, to COVID. But God reminding us right before we stepped into that, I am still a healer. Yeah. And so looking back on that, we start looking at, this is great, but also the timing of it to say, no, I still do this.
This is preconditions that could have been deadly to some of these people if they would have got
COVID. You're absolutely correct.
Problems that would have complicated. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right. I never thought about that.
That's the power of God. He knows what we're fixing to go through. But I'm not saying that that's the only reason that he.
No, but you're exactly right. I never thought about that.
He prepares us before we go into that valley of the shadow of death.
Absolutely correct.
I don't know. Y'all are people of faith. I'm a person of faith. I'm a big faith person. I think that a lot of people, if they realized what faith could really do, I think that they would put more weight in faith. And y'all part of what impressed me in our conversation last time I was here, y'all bought towels and things so when people do come and they do want to give their heart to God, get baptized and get their life right, straightened out, you've got towels here waiting for them, and you told me that you bought those things in faith, believing that God was going to send people to be baptized.
Absolutely.
And that,
there was a man that come and preached at a conference I was at years ago, long before I was ever pastoring, and that was something. It was in Louisiana, and the church was kind of going through a time of just some trouble and struggle, and the Lord spoke to him and said, he was just trying to hold on to the folks that he had. He had started this church. It was a what we would call a home mission church. It started from nothing, and he was trying to hold on to what he had. And the Lord said, he said, the church has never been intended to be in maintenance mode, just to maintain what you have. And so they started getting real aggressive in their outreach and things of that nature. But one of the things, with the faith side of it, because that's huge, that is huge. He just told his church, look, he goes, we're about to be baptized. We're about to see a lot of people saved, and they're going to be baptized. He goes, but out of your faith, he goes, I want you to buy them a towel so they can dry off with when they come out of the water. And he goes, have the towels here, son. He goes, I thought he would just put them on the front of the platform, and he goes, I thought I'd have 20 or 30 towels. He goes, I couldn't get on the platform. I had to move stacks of towels. Well, within a few services, they had over 100 people that they had baptized. I can't remember the number because it was so many years, but they were lined up. They were there for hours baptizing people. But of their faith, God. And so the home church that I attended back home, we had took on that initiative, and we started seeing that. So when the Lord called us here to pastor, it was something I told him from the get-go. Listen, this is what we're doing, and everyone's bought into it, and we've been blessed to baptize folks, and we've got towels, and that's just something that we do. And we buy white towels just as a reminder to let them know when you take on His name in baptism, you come up, all your sins are washed away. You're just as white as that towel, and it's a reminder for them to take with them. But also, it's also for us to exercise our faith in believing, hey, someone is going to use this towel, receiving the covenant of the Lord.
Well, it's the more that you sow, the more you reap, and that's anything. And I know a lot of people today, they talk about money with that, and I get it, that is a factor. But so many times people forget that if you sow in tears, you reap in joy.
That's right.
But if you sow in faith, that I know faith without works is dead.
Yes.
And I've preached this wrong for a lot of years, and I know that we have to have faith without fruits is dead, but faith without works is dead. So that working, even though the faith hasn't manifested everything yet, but it's still working. It's kind of like that Waymaker song I love. It says, even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working.
I listen to that song every morning in my prayer time.
And so what I've kind of come to this revelation of is faith without works is dead. Faith without God's works is dead as well. Mm-hmm. Because when you have the faith, God has the power.
Right.
And if you continue in that faith and you continue in that lifestyle of it, God's going to honor that no matter what. Because when you sow in faith, you will reap in God's works through your life. This is a testament of that. The baptisms are a testament of that. Y'all have a lot of things going on good here that the Lord does.
Yes.
And I know COVID's kind of hurt some of y'all's numbers and stuff. It's done it everywhere.
Right.
But, I mean, look at the manifestation of what God's done. Y'all just bought new chairs for your sanctuary. You've got paint and all that stuff going on.
No, they painted before we got here. So the only thing we needed to do was get rid of our pews, and our carpet was kind of dated, and was able to get the chairs and got rid of the old pews. We're just working on trying to save up now for our carpet and a little bit of modification to our platform to make it more functional. But yeah, we were real blessed. Even before we got here, they fresh painted the whole building. But that was kind of the last little touch we wanted to do, and we're about halfway there. So we got the chairs in, and they're very, very nice. We can seat a little over 100 people in here, and so we're thankful about that.
And speaking of sitting 100 people, because I believe God's going to honor what y'all are doing. Y'all have a conference coming up.
Yes, sir.
In this month.
Yes, sir.
The 20th of this month is going to be a 2-service conference.
Yes, sir.
All right, so tell us a little bit about what's going on with that.
So this is actually something that started last year. I guess we could say that this will be our second annual chain breaking conference. I had a couple of young men down from my home county where I'm from, down in Orange County, that came up and preached it, and one did the night service and one did the morning service, if I remember right. And both of these men, the Lord had delivered them from tremendous drug abuse and alcoholics. Both were alcoholics, and both men have a solid ministry now and doing great things. We not only healing, but we also believe that God breaks chains of addictions as well. And we weren't sure if we was going to be able to have it this year, but as it worked out, I've got a man coming in. He's got a tremendous testimony. He lives up here in the Northeast Texas region, over in Gladewater, I believe it's right. I might have said that wrong, but just a tremendous ministry. He comes from that as well. In fact, he didn't grow up. He grew up an atheist, as a matter of fact, and how God revealed Himself to him. Such a powerful testimony, and but comes from a long line of strongholds in his life, and so he'll be here on the Sunday, March the 20th, for 2 services, which we typically have 2 services on Sunday, 10 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. And we're looking forward to that. We're going to be getting information out, flyers put up in the town and neighboring towns.
We'll have more information on that on our page as well. So if you're interested in that, we definitely want you to get all the information that we can for it.
Yes.
As far as y'all are open to anybody to come. It's not.
Yes.
If you need something,
if you need deliverance, if you need healing, we're not going to stand at the door and check cards or nothing. That's not how we operate. It's for anyone. In fact, going back to the night of the Lord doing all this work right here, is that whoever would walk to those doors, that they would ask, believe. He didn't say, well, look, if you check this box, No, that's not how we operate. And whosoever will. And if they'll ask and believe, God will definitely do it.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be an awesome time. We're definitely going to be here, and we've got a lot of things coming up. In fact, the 19th, I want y'all to be in prayer for us. We're going to Dallas, Texas, with a group of guys and ladies as well. We've been invited to participate in ministry with a tent community of homeless folks down there in Dallas, and there's some things we're kind of brewing. I got a call the other day. It's kind of interesting. He used the terminology of Woodstock for Jesus, and I think that it's going to be really awesome.
Right.
We're in the process right now of getting it ready. It's going to be over. We haven't decided the venue yet, but somewhere near either White Oak or Gilmer, somewhere in that neighborhood of Upshur County, and a lot of different churches are going to be involved, different speakers, different music, different things. So be in prayer for the stuff that we've got coming up, summertime and things, but we'll definitely be here the 20th with y'all.
I appreciate that.
Kind of talking back about different things, my wife and I are really big on sowing into ministries and ministers, because we've been there, we've been evangelists, or we are evangelists, but we've been in the full-time ministry saddle, pushing and trudging in the trenches, so to speak, trying to make things work. And I understand the struggles of stuff, and we've always felt like God wanted us to help do things like we're doing right now, but also physical and spiritual needs for people, just somebody to talk to, somebody to be an helping hand. And so as part of that, I know we talked last time I was here, you love to golf, you love to do different things, and you got a really nice office, but you hate the Texas Longhorns.
Well, you just got a lot of enemies.
That wall in there is about that color.
It is burnt orange color.
It is burnt orange, and I know you said that you really. Can you tell me that story? Because I want these.
Why did I tell you this story?
Because the Lord knew I needed to know it.
Okay, well, a pastor friend of mine, actually he was my pastor for 7 years. He's originally from Mississippi, and his family are big Ole Miss fans. And so our home church down where my hometown of Orangeville, Texas, give a plug for them. Our church was destroyed by Hurricane Rita. Is that right? Yeah. Katrina had just hit New Orleans, and then Rita had hit us. And so our church was messed up, but when the insurance money finally decided to start writing checks, and it kind of took a while. Of course, there was a lot of damage. I get all that, but our pastor did such a great job of doing so much. We was able to actually add on to our church and have a real nice foyer. His office before then was a glorified broom closet. I mean, it was a little bitty. And it was so nice. I remember thinking just how uptown we were, because we actually had a water fountain now, and then the bathrooms were a lot larger. We had a nice nursery. It just was able to add on so much to the church. And so he had a really nice office as well, especially compared to what he had. And all the colors and everything they picked out was just gorgeous. Just, we couldn't even believe that was our church. It was so beautiful. Well, his office was kind of a maroon color. And so the arch rival to Ole Miss is the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've ever been to Mississippi, it's a real thing over there. This little bit of spat between A&M, and I'm an A&M fan, I guess, T-shirt fan. I had to go there, but this whole between them and the Longhorns, nothing like over there. It gets really real over there. Oh yeah, and so his office was kind of Mississippi State Bulldog maroon, and now it was beautiful. Again, the furniture. His parents actually own a furniture store, so everything there was just really nice. And so, me being the guy that I am, I walked in his office. I said, wow, "This is nice." So I said, "So you went with Bulldog Maroon? Okay, interesting choice." And no, that's not Bulldog. So I just kept making sure to point that out, that this was Bulldog Maroon. And fast forward a long time. Actually, that was in 06. We came here in 16. So yeah, we came here in 18. And I was in here, and like I said, they had just painted everything. All the paint in here was about a year and a half before we got here. And I'm just having to sit in my office one day. Now, like I said, we the pews we had in the sanctuary, they match the carpet, so it's a blue. And I love the color blue, but I realized that it was blue and silver. Yes, I'm from Texas, born and raised in Texas. I'm also not a Dallas Cowboy fan. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it had occurred to me one day after I was here several months that my sanctuary was blue and silver, and my office was burnt orange. Yeah. And so I instantly went back to giving him a hard time, and I called him, and I said, "Do you believe that a man reaps what he sows?" He goes, "Absolutely." I said, "Do you remember me mildly aggravating you about the color of your office?" He goes, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I do remember that." And I said, "Well, it just dawned on me, the color of everything I have here." And he laughed. It was funny. And it's just one of those things that kind of reminds me. So I'm not going to paint it. It is what it is, but it's one of those things. It's a reminder you do reap what you sow.
But if you could change it, you would, though, right?
I don't know. There's really nothing wrong with the color. I talk about orange, burnt orange. My high school colors, about the Orangeville, the Bobcats, and we were a bright orange. It doesn't bother me. Actually, every time I see it, it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, because it reminds me that of the story, you know. So I don't want to. I'll change the carpet out in there later on down the road, but it's just one of those things that
we got a lot of other priorities right now.
Right. Mainly right now, the priority is the carpet in the sanctuary. And I have a pastor friend of mine that he knows how to. He's a carpenter, builds homes and things of that nature. He's going to help with our platform. Our platform has 2 layers or 2 levels to it, and so if you want to move something, either it has to be on this deck or this deck. You can't just move it a little bit. It just helps it be more functional. A lady here that does our Sunday school, she's a retired school teacher and just tremendous, and she does puppet shows, and we have massive totes this big. We have 4 or 5 of them full of puppets. Her dad was a pastor. She's been a Sunday school teacher since she was probably 14, 15 years old, and then of course became a teacher. And so when we set the puppet stages up, it would help it be more functional if we can kind of just move it a little bit kind of deal, And of course, like I said, the carpet is, I think it's the original carpet ever created. And so I'll be glad when we can get that changed out. But it's going to come together, and we're excited about that. But we have other priorities. There's a couple of things that's never been done to our gym that's going to get done. It's just one of those things, it's just going to take a little time with.
Well, I told my wife, a man that is in the ministry and using an office and things like that, I would love for us in our ministry to pay to have that thing repainted for you. If you would accept it, that you can use the money and repaint something or do something or put it towards the stage, whatever you want to do. But I don't want it to just go to just the church.
Right.
I want it to go to something for y'all.
Right.
And my wife also has something special for your wife to give her as just a gift. She'll do that later. But we want to sow into y'all
I appreciate
help y'all
that.
with more ways than just a video or more ways than just helping promote this church and the things that it's got going on. We want to be a pastor's friend.
Well, I appreciate that.
We love what God's doing here. We love the Spirit of the Lord that you feel in this place, and we love the faith elevations that are here. And what God has done is He has confirmed that His hand is in this place.
Yes.
And so I know it's a hard struggle sometimes. It feels like when you're plowing, like the mule has died, and you're standing behind the plow, and you're pushing it the best you can, and you're dragging it all behind you. But just know, don't look back, don't worry about it. Just keep on pushing forward, and God's going to do it.
It's so funny you just used that analogy. It was a few months ago. You're right. That's exactly what it's like sometimes. Yeah, my goodness, but there's a time and a season for everything. But in kind of one of those times where you're thinking, my goodness, wanting this to happen. You kind of want things to happen fast forward, And the Lord just said, keep plowing.
Yeah.
And so that let me know it's a season of plowing. When you plow, you're not gonna get potatoes that day. The corn's not gonna be 6 foot tall when you're done plowing. But if you're ever gonna have the potatoes, if you're ever gonna have the corn, if you're ever gonna have whatever, it starts with the plowing. And so we're just gonna keep plowing, but there is gonna come a time. We're not gonna be weary in well doing. And we're going to keep planting seeds, and we are going to reap. And I greatly appreciate that. And right now our biggest push that we are making is for the carpet. And I just thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, we're excited about it. And just to recap, if y'all are interested, if you're ever in the Hooks area or anywhere close enough to drive, it is Sunday morning and Sunday night at 10 o'clock, 6:30. And Wednesday night at 7 o'clock.
Right.
Address is 9797 FM 1398 here in Hooks, Texas. And Pastor Brian will be happy to answer any questions if you want to give him a call.
Yes.
His phone number is 903-336-5278.
That's our church number. And yes, I check it every day. That phone's in my office, and they will leave a message. I'll be glad to get back with them. Absolutely right.
And the conference is going to be here.
Yes, sir.
That address, March the 20th at morning service and evening service, 10:30 and 6:30. Or 10 o'clock and 6:30.
Yes.
All right. Well, guys, we love you, and we hope that you got ministered to in this. If you need anything or if you have a prayer request, please feel free to comment or shoot us a personal message or do anything to get a hold of us. We want to be here for you. We love you, and Jesus loves you. Just remember, you're not waiting on God. God's waiting on you. Have a blessed one.